From the architecture, it might seem like I'm in England, but no, I'm in Mumbai. This city was once called Bombay and belonged to the British. At that time, it was one of the main British cities in all of Asia. Back then, you would only see white faces on these streets. Now, I'm the only white person here. All of us have a hatred towards England, and that can't be denied. A country that was once considered a golden bird with immense wealth was humiliated to the point where people were dying of hunger. Now, Mumbai is one of the largest megacities in the world. Its population is approaching 30 million people. But in the past, there was only water here and a few fishing islands. Bombay was just one of them. Over time, the islands were connected by dams, and now it's all densely populated land. I barely made it out. What a mess. There are just too many people living here. At first, Bombay was seized by the Portuguese, who then gave it to the English. The British built the largest port here, numerous factories, and even the first railway in India. But the colonial past is a sore spot for Indians. And 30 years ago, the European name Bombay was changed to Mumbai. Now it's the economic capital of India. But it doesn't look very pleasant.
There are rats running around. For a long time here, girls, they were killed or abandoned on the streets.
A great past, modern technology, and hopeless poverty. All of this exists in one place in India. How does it rain in Mumbai? The difference between summer and winter is enormous. That is, between the dry and wet seasons. If in April there's only half a millimeter of precipitation, then in June it's already 504 millimeters. So there's just 1 month between them, but the difference is 1,000-fold. And here is Mumbai as seen from the airplane. Some areas are brightly lit, while others are dark. These are the poor areas. The huge Mumbai airport serves 50 million passengers a year and looks impressive. Many Indians dream of taking a photo here and flying somewhere. Even here, you can already see a lot of stray dogs. And instead of a line of taxi cars, here there are tuk-tuks standing in 2 rows. These are also taxi drivers, and they even have a special uniform. The clothes look simple, but the Indians wearing them are cheerful, smiling and waving at the camera.
Hello, how are you?
If I reach out my hand, I can actually touch the cars passing by right from the tuk-tuk. And here I am already getting out of a completely packed train. I barely managed to get out. I've never seen so many people in one place before. Good thing I got out in time. This train is on fire. People are getting off trains everywhere, transferring to equally overcrowded buses. If you look from above, you can't even see the end of this crowd. There are even people in the sky. Here comes another plane, packed with people. It's impossible to eat in a cozy atmosphere here. So hungry people have to eat while standing right up against some wall. There are just too many people living here. People simply don't fit in the available space. This isn't a sidewalk. I'm walking right down the middle of the road, brushing against passing cars and tuk-tuks because there's just no other way to get through. I'm also just walking across the intersection. Any free spot on the ground is immediately taken over by vendors. They mostly sell food. Vegetables and fruits are just lying right in the dirt where people walk. And nobody seems to mind. This is already the center of old Bombay. It's a completely different world here, and they even have a tow truck for mopeds. Sometimes it even feels like you've ended up in London here. Once upon a time in this area, there were even public places with zones only for white people.
This hotel here was the first one. That was exclusively for the English. They're restoring it now because UNESCO has approved it. And that library we just passed by, it was also built by a merchant. There's a reading room there. And inside there's a little courtyard with all sorts of palm trees growing. It's insanely beautiful.
Almost everything here was in fact built during the British era. This is the University of Mumbai. Here's the municipal building, and that's the main station, Victoria. It's named the same as the main station in London, in honor of the Queen, although now the Indians have renamed it. You can probably guess yourself, but this is one of the busiest train stations in the world. Every day, 3.5 million people pass through Victoria Station. That's 15 times more than at Victoria Station in London. By the way, the clocks there look similar. When you look up, it's pure England, straight out of a Harry Potter movie. But when you look down, you find yourself in India. I think Harry Potter would definitely get lost here. What chaos! Millions of people have completely changed the atmosphere of this elegant English district. Life in India usually moves slowly, but not here. Indians are rushing home from work, and along the way, people try to sell them something at every step. Here, for example, they're pressing sugarcane. Alina and I are carefully trying not to fall behind the locals and boldly jaywalk.
Grandma crosses the road like this everywhere.
Dad would love it here.
Yeah.
These gates are the main symbol of the colonial era. They were the first thing the English saw when they arrived in India. And they also became the last place in the city for those Britons who were forced to leave Bombay after the fall of the colonial regime. Now it's a favorite spot in Mumbai for taking photos. And people also love just sitting right on the square. I don't think the English used to sit on the ground like this to relax. What do you think?
It seems as if not.
In the past, British soldiers used to depart from here. Now it's Indian tourists. Right here stands the beautiful Taj Mahal Hotel. According to legend, an Indian industrialist named Tata built it after getting angry at the English, who wouldn't let him into a whites-only hotel. The hotel was truly impressive, and Indians built it to world-class standards, almost without any involvement from the British.
And there really were Indians who had a lot of money, and they would spend it in these English establishments. So they went ahead and built these magnificent buildings. When Gandhi went to study in London, he had a first-class ticket. That's a classic story for them. Oh, and he wasn't allowed into the carriage because he wasn't white. And then he went to Africa, where the British also oppressed people of color, including Indians, in South Africa. So this sense of injustice built up in him, and he spread this feeling of injustice throughout all of India.
Guy's name is Aditya. He is a promising student and loves his country. Today he walked around an ancient temple and filmed these shots. We all know that England indeed ruled India for about 200 years. This is a chapter that seems both rather irritating and upsetting at the same time. It was a period when we witnessed the Industrial Revolution, but it was also a period of decline. A country that was once considered a golden bird with immense wealth was reduced to a state where people were dying of hunger. The main part was the Bengal region, which was historically one of the richest and most prosperous areas. This region was eventually brought so low that devastating famines occurred there. The most infamous of these was the Great Bengal Famine, during which millions of people tragically died without food. I would say that every person has their own perspective on the colonial history of our country. We all harbor resentment towards England, and that cannot be denied. India was once one of the richest countries in the world. People did not suffer from a lack of food. But when the British left, people were literally dying of hunger in a place where nobles once lived. I feel a lot of frustration and irritation, not only because of the atrocities committed by the British, but also because of our own rulers, who were unable to act properly at that time. The authorities and those in power took advantage of this. Our people suffered, while those who committed the atrocities are no longer in this world. Therefore, we should not blame anyone for this.
Every hotel has a bucket like this. It's scary to imagine what it's for.
We take some water and then we clean. We take a left hand and then we clean with the left hand.
Here's a small dipper, just for that.
All night long, rats were running across the ceiling. I mean, they were stomping around up there. I couldn't sleep at all. I kept imagining them attacking me. I listened to music, and only then was I able to fall asleep. There's no internet in the room. Terrible. This is your India. I woke up and headed closer to the people. I'll have to climb in here, somehow.
The air in the carriage is refreshed by large, powerful fans and open doors. They don't close even at high speed. Everyone is looking out. I'm looking out too. On average, 7 people die on the railway in Mumbai every day. Some of them fall out of the open doors and others end up under the train because they live right on the tracks without any barriers. Almost all the space along the railway is dirt, trash and dumps, with crows circling overhead. So the train stands still for a while. But they must push and shove, both when getting off and getting on.
On the train, people keep coming up to see who I am. I quickly give them a link to my channel.
These high-rises mean that I'm close to the center of Mumbai, but the atmosphere here doesn't really change. People relax right on the dirty ground and other surfaces. The streets are so chaotic that buses can't pull up to the stop and pick up passengers right in the middle of the road. This is what an average neighborhood in one of the largest cities in the world looks like. Terrifying high-rises and even more miserable 2-story buildings. That is, the first floor belongs to the same owners. They run their business on the first floor.
And they live on the second floor. Cluster.
Aren't the residents of this building bothered that they're surrounded by slums?
No, of course not. Everyone lives like this here. And those in the slums, I walked through them, I don't know, for kilometers. There are huge areas here where these slums are Muslim or Hindu. Hello? It doesn't matter. They're all the same, all similar. And people live just fine. Now, in every slum, there's running water. And somewhere on the outskirts, there are public toilets, which didn't exist before because everything used to be dumped into little rivers like this. All of it went into the sewers.
At the same time, vendors don't forget it's important to nap at lunchtime, leaving to cover their carts. And this is an Indian laundry. Strangely enough, this very place here symbolizes cleanliness.
That is, clothes are hung right on the bridge railings, on any available surface.
This is India as it really is.
You can gauge the local standard of living by what's being sold at the stalls. These televisions are about 40 years old, and yet there are still buyers for them. There are tattered clothes hanging in the windows everywhere. It's hard to tell whether it's trash or laundry drying. In the more well-off apartments, there are flower pots on the grills. The cleanest building in the area is the school.
Over there are little streets and alleys.
Then that's it. There's some kind of burial ground over there. Right in the middle of this favela lies a national treasure of India, a reminder that it was once one of the most advanced civilizations in the world. This is the entrance to ancient caves, carved directly into the rock 1,500 years ago.
We'll need to take off our slippers before we go in.
Here already?
Yes. Well, because this is already a sacred place.
Alexander is a builder by education and has been traveling around India for 30 years, but he still can't understand how the ancient Indians managed to build this, or more precisely, to carve it out of solid rock.
Look at these columns. Do you see? And over there, inside is the temple. It's unlikely something like this could have been carved out with a chisel, although there are many things here I can't even understand. Myself, the material is very hard and, interestingly, also brittle.
Inside, it's an active temple, and the priest let us in. We're trying not to wake up the other attendant.
Service is here, everything open. And they worship Shiva here.
In the 6th century, Hinduism was spreading rapidly across India. Throughout the region, many such rock-cut religious caves were carved. This one is the oldest, dedicated to the goddess Yogeshwari. Numerous halls, columns, sculptures, and shrines were all created by hand.
Look, it's not just a door, it's supposed to be multi-leveled like this.
Yes, that's later.
They reinforced it.
The parts that were broken, yes, they reinforced them. Here is the bull, Om Namah Shivaya. This is Nandi. Shiva is somewhere in meditation, in yet another in a 1,000-year session. And so he waits for him to awaken. That's the story.
They've set up a routine here.
Well, it's all for the parishioners, water, washing, and all that.
Look, a faucet.
Oh, this is such a modern story, with a padlock. So yeah.
Locked, so you definitely can't open it.
In Mumbai, there are public drinking fountains. You can walk up anywhere and drink water. Anyone can come up and drink for free.
There's always one cup for all.
It looks like someone was really hammering. Here, and from the right side, too, almost like marks from a jackhammer. Does it remind you of anything?
Well, yeah.
I've come across this quite often. Besides the fact that it's carved out, especially the figures of deities, they're polished so perfectly that it's impossible to achieve even with modern methods. But I've seen grooves like these everywhere. These are little caves where sannyasis used to sit and meditate. You can go in and take a look.
Cells.
Yeah, and these are drainage channels for the water that flows down during the rainy season, so it has somewhere to go. These are basically like a kind of sewage system. And here, all of this used to be underwater, and it collapsed. The area was hollowed out before. You can still see water over there, but now there's some trash in there. But back then, they used to keep water here. Here again, the cells go further in that direction. There are even pigeons living here too. And now we're going to come out on the other side. Here are some more cells. These ones are quite large. And that's the temple we were just at. And look, there are some small images here, carved bas-reliefs.
There are also traces of religious wars here. India is still a place where Islam, Hinduism, and other religions collide.
Well, the broken off parts you see here, yes, that's from when the Muslims, during Aurangzeb's time or at other times, tried to destroy everything. But the stones are so strong that they couldn't manage to destroy it all, only partially.
They just bit off the legs.
Yes, you can see the same thing in the Shayanta caves. There too, with the elephants, only the trunks. They managed to break off the trunks after 3 years. They broke off the elephant's legs and trunks, and that's it. Nothing else. The stone is strong. Look, you see, this is probably a monk or someone like that.
Monk? No one?
A Brahmin? This is a holy place. They don't clean up the trash, just dump everything here for years.
So they don't see a problem with the trash, or maybe they're just lazy.
We climbed up to the level of the houses and courtyards. Here, a dog is sleeping. Laundry is drying and some local boys gather. The great temple is completely beneath us.
Hey, how are you?
The Indians mistook me for a Spaniard. Hoping to make some money, the boys offered to show us around the temple and the neighborhood. The guy in the nice pants and slippers is named Niraj. Anyway, the boys are running off somewhere. I hope it's not to something dangerous. So we've ended up in a hidden room where supposedly a monk lives. Here you have to leave offerings for the gods. All I have is a banana.
Correct?
White people in the slums, it's always a celebration. Some want to make money off us, others are just curious to see an unusual creature like me. Especially the kids. For them, this is a real event here.
Namaste.
Here live in strange ways. This guy is sleeping, squatting right in the corner. The tour from the boys was pretty weak, but I gave them 300 rupees to split and wished them luck finding a proper job. This is a big problem for young people. India has the youngest population, so young people, including myself, are influenced by social media. In recent years, the number of Instagram and WhatsApp users has increased significantly. The content we're being fed is really bad. People started to distort reality itself, tying their lives to these TikTok videos, which increased unemployment and made students stop studying. This content just messes with your brain. Thank God TikTok was banned. It was really bad. Now in our country, people mostly watch YouTube and Instagram videos. If people start using it for good, improving their skills and learning new things, they can make great use of the internet and become wealthier. I am 20 years old and I was born in the Indian city of Bangalore. There are a lot of parks there and it's a really cool place. I spent most of my life in historic Agra, where the Taj Mahal is located. I moved there and studied. Aditya is studying to become a doctor and has lived in different regions of India. We divide India into 3 parts: East, Center, and West. They are very different and speak many different languages, which are distinct from each other. The cultures are different too, so basically, we are completely different people. The East and the North are very different. The first time I was in India, I was really surprised that Indians speak to each other in English. If you look at India, it consists of many states, each with its own language. That's why it's very difficult to communicate if you travel from one state to another. If you know English fluently, you can survive effectively anywhere. Obviously, this is connected to the colonial past, since the British ruled all of India, and English became the common language that every state used. After gaining independence, we also use English as an official language, even though people want Hindi to become the national language. This is very difficult, since not everyone speaks Hindi. English is also one of the main languages in our educational curriculum. We learn it from elementary school. Most students across India know it well. I think that people who know English have a much better chance of getting a good job than those who don't. Indians are very gifted with languages and many of them speak several at once. That's why Alina came to India to teach them Russian. This is her classroom.
Let's do it. I believe you will do it for sure.
In Alina's group, there is both a man who is over 50 years old and also a girl who is about 15. At the same time, another 25 people are attending online.
Let me do it like this. Camera on me. I did my homework. In the future, I will do my homework tomorrow. Goodbye. Goodbye, and see you soon. I'll send the homework in the chat. All right.
Is this what was studied today? What was it?
The future and past tenses of imperfective verbs.
Do the guys' brains get twisted?
They don't, because, well, first of all, when I came here, I was shocked that, well, no matter what this person looked like, this Indian guy, he doesn't just know English at a C2 level, but at some kind of C22 of his own, and he will definitely speak better than me. You wouldn't think so, right? Some third world country, somewhere, very far away, with all the slums, where nobody has anything. And yet, their level of education and the way they perceive our cultural identity is really interesting. They compare India to Russia.
Why?
They study Russian, saying that Russia and India are practically brothers in history, that both are very multinational and multilingual spaces.
They come to learn Russian. What purpose?
That's a very good question. It's not clear at all. I ask them, are you going to Russia to study? They're like, no, I'm 60 years old. Why? For them, somehow, the knowledge of a language just floats in the air. If you know languages, it means you're educated. It means you look at the world differently.
Alina is a volunteer and works for free. She even won a competition for this.
30 of the best graduate student winners were sent to various internship centers. I was sent to Mumbai.
Other options were Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, for example.
Ты решила максимально подальше.
Да. Почему нет?
Почему нет?
Да, монолингвальная аудитория.
The accent, yes, it's so strong that I don't understand. I often tell them, sorry, I don't speak your language. They get very offended because they were speaking to me in English.
This mess started at customs, and he starts talking to me in English. I realize that there are some English words in there, but because of the phonetics, I don't understand anything at all. I'm like, please, here are my documents. Just take everything. I don't know what you want from me.
Были такие, кто, все, он перестал ходить?
No, not for me. Not in Russia. They mostly stick it out. They just push through it. I don't know where they get that willpower from.
Surprisingly, people don't approach Alina on the street very often.
Here I live in a very good hotel. Here, in principle, as participants in this competition, we were promised that the hotel, transfers, and all visa expenses would be covered.
Alina lives in the hotel for free, but the neighbors can actually be quite different.
Called the reception then, I tried. Well, I said, they're killing each other in there. And until I went down to the first floor and showed them the video, there was absolutely no reaction. And even then, my Indian colleagues were saying to me, why are you getting involved? Alia, if they're killing each other behind a closed door, you shouldn't react to that. And after those videos, I was escorted from the first floor all the way up to my 11th floor room. They kept arguing for another hour, yelling at each other in the hallway in their own Indian language.
The contrast in Mumbai is obvious when we step outside. Right next to each other are grim high-rises with crows circling overhead, and a luxurious billionaire skyscraper.
Well, actually, you're not really allowed to film there. They really scold you harshly there. It's the biggest house, so to speak, owned by a single family. The millionaire's son, he just recently got married, and Rihanna performed at their wedding. That's the one. It's safe to film from here.
On the other side of the road, there's a rough neighborhood that Alina walks through to get home. Aren't you scared?
Not at all. People just live and work there. What's so scary about it?
No one bothers you, right?
No.
They just look at you strangely.
Well, I think they look at us strangely. If I were walking alone.
So, two whites, is that right?
They fenced it off behind this fence. But there's a whole village of homeless people living there, so that no one complains. They just fenced everything off, not hiding the locals. Basically, like how in other places, they live under bridges. There's nothing to see there, just piles of garbage and dirt. And that's how it all turned out as they started building everything.
The huts of those who were lucky were demolished and they were given new housing compensation.
Here you can just go, for example, to such a building. There will be a cow shed nearby, literally right next to this complex, this shopping center. That's just how things are here. The cows can roam wherever they want. What to do? They live right here. They don't have homes of their own.
Well, at least
a roof over their heads, yes. And in the rain and in the snow. Well, not snow, of course, but during the rainy season, they live here, yes.
rain dust.
Everything is open to them, both in the rain and in the dust. You can come up to them, talk to them. They'll be happy. Maybe they'll give you something like a little treat. That's just how they live. Of course, these are the people who actually have a place to live. Not much of a place, but still it's a home. Tiny rooms, about 3 by 3 meters, but still.
Alexander has been in Mumbai for a long time, but this taxi driver is new here and his English, he doesn't understand it. At the show, interfere with the metro. When you say metro station, he doesn't get it at all. Zero understanding, okay? Still, someone who understood well was quickly found. There's a meter in the tuk-tuk, so you don't need to bargain.
There's change, and Yulia has some. Oh, I'm sure of it myself.
So you don't need to ask how much it costs or if they turn it on.
Yes,
It starts running, right?
charge what meter says. 23, the starting fare. When you get in, that's it. Let's start.
A pile of motorcycles, overgrown ugly buildings, and a favela. The house where Alexander lives is right next to all of this, separated by just a wall. And here it's no longer India. There are gardeners, a gym, a swimming pool, and billiard tables. At lunchtime, everyone takes a break to nap.
From 2 to 4 o'clock, everything closes. Lunch, then a nap. Here there are swimming pools for adults and kids and playgrounds. It's 45 floors, but actually, in terms of height, it's even more. About 50 floors. There are even 2 whole floors, a men's spa. There's even a steam room, parking, everything we need. It's really nice here. There's a park, and down there is a soccer field.
Which floor is this park on?
The 8th, but here the floors are higher than just 2.5 meters, so in meters it's actually more. And over there you can also do things. There are tennis tables, chess, whatever you want. You can come in and play for free.
Government people live in this building.
They arrive when they do. They block off the roads, remove the benches, all those vendors. From here there's a good view of Gorogaon, our little neighborhood. That's what it looks like from the other side. Right now though, there's a bit of fog. This is how the middle class lives, more or less.
Isn't it always like this?
No, of course not. The wind usually blows it all away. But over there, they're still burning something. Naturally, all of that rises up. Dust, this kind of smog. But sometimes you can see all the way to the sea, just 5 kilometers away. You can see the pagoda. They're building a huge pagoda there for Vipassana.
So only your borscht turns out well, right? Did you cook it?
Yes,
The flatbreads are called parathas.
it won't be the same for your stomach. So, not recommend.
Stabilize things.
Yes, better than all those subvents.
So, for example, what could you eat there? Would it be dirty or have some kind of bacteria?
Even if it might come straight from the oven, still, when you see how they cook, it's all done outside, and how they wash the plates right in dirty water, it's quite possible that something could get in. That's an infection risk. Or it could be expired or something else like that.
Probably a bacteria.
It could be. Those who rewrite like that a long time used to it in the yoke.
There's a whole garden and a barbecue area on the balcony. They grill kebabs right here. These are tomatoes, right?
That's horseradish.
And do you start this thing up right here somehow?
Yeah, that's a grill. We just move this, the chair, and that's it. Gas cylinder grill.
So the ventilation is pretty direct here, right?
Yes, yes.
The walls haven't gotten smoked up.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Alexander is 69 years old, and it seems like it's India that keeps him so young because he's traveled all over the country.
Over what period did you visit all these places?
Since 2007.
And how many kilometers do you estimate?
I can tell you how much I've covered on foot. In 4 years, about 40,000 kilometers. And, well, just a little bit. Like,
That's the equator.
Let's take a look at his adventures. This is a python on his balcony, and here he filmed a fight between 3 bulls, 2 against 1, who doesn't give up, boom, and doesn't run away. On the beach during low tide, you never know what you might find. Even the dogs are shocked.
wanna fight? Hey! Higher.
Now that's a different crab, and a pufferfish.
Show me what you can do. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. Wow. Whoa, why it's attacking. It's running, it's running, it's running. It'll burrow itself quickly now. That's it. Now the pufferfish can't handle the current. It's being washed up on the shore. It's alive. We'll help it now. Beautiful.
Mumbai isn't just roads and slums. In fact, there are also some truly amazing and really cool green parks here.
Here you have the wheel of samsara turning. You can only see something like this in India. No one will chase the cows away. They'll just wait until they move or drive around them.
The main problem in huge cities like Mumbai is transportation. 30 million people constantly want to go somewhere, and it's hard to organize. The metro is the perfect solution. It's new and fast here, but building it is expensive and it's not available in all areas. So after that, everyone switches to tuk-tuks. There are approximately 220,000 auto rickshaws of them in Mumbai. In some districts, tuk-tuks are actually banned. For example, in Old Bombay. But in the rest, they're the #1 mode of transport for short distances. Every day, approximately 5 million people use them, and a single ride costs about $50. Look at the kind of advertising in the metro. An Indian couple, but both the guy and the girl look as westernized as possible. Maybe it's just me, but I think they even lightened their skin. The metro in Mumbai is elevated and mostly runs above ground, so one ride is enough to get a sense of what the city looks like. Slums occupy 25% of the city's area, and 9 million people live in them. Their houses are unofficial, built by hand from all sorts of scrap materials. Not everywhere has running water. Here it might just look like ruins and a dump. But no, a lot of people actually live here. Closer to the metro station, civilization suddenly appears. A civilization that's unaffordable for the slum residents. The poor only come here as servants, even though they live on the same street as the rich. Mumbai is obliged to keep building the metro. This is what a station looks like during construction. And here it seems construction is frozen. But there definitely are new stations, and I visited one of them. Very few people use this line yet, mainly because it only has a few stations at the moment.
This is actually the very first place in India where I am truly, completely alone, right now.
Aditya believes that India, although slowly, is getting better. It's hard to talk about India's development. There are 2 points of view. If we talk about GDP, growth rates, and the number of billionaires in our country, it's true, we are growing. When I go out to buy milk, I see that something new is happening. New cafes are opening all the time, new companies, new technologies are coming into every home. The influence of the internet has also increased over the last 5 to 10 years. You can do without cash, making even the smallest transactions with a single click. You see QR codes for payment in every store. So, I'm sure that India is definitely getting better. Алина в Индии не только учитель, но еще и библиотекарь. What's with the mess?
I made it this... Well, actually, you can see here, these are children's fairy tales, and over here it's arranged alphabetically. There are books just about culture over there. The library was last sorted out, I don't know, probably 20 years ago. They used to come here and rearrange things. I came and decided to separate the books about the war from the USSR and put the classics in a completely separate section. You know, the way it should be, like how our libraries are supposed to work.
So were you specifically assigned the library, or did you volunteer yourself?
They asked me, kind of, couldn't you?
And could you?
Well, why not? What's the big deal? I've actually been doing this for a week and a half already, just so you know. Yeah, well, at least something has started to move forward. Even these stands are almost ready.
And then the Indian girls came to the ballet school, which is in the next room. There's a water dispenser right here. Alina doesn't risk drinking from it, but the ballerinas do. These are the moms waiting for their ballet girls.
Yeah, everyone comes to pick them up. Here, they take girls very seriously. Well, I mean, how should I put it? For a long time here, girls, well, nothing. If you had a girl, it was considered bad.
A tragedy for the family.
Yeah, the fact that they were killed, well, that's obvious. They were abandoned on the streets. There are even schools here, schools for orphaned girls that still exist to this day.
Do people abandon them now?
Not anymore, well, not as much, but I think there will still be some cases. You just can't erase that from people's minds so easily. That's why now people are very protective of girls. They wait for them, they walk them to school. People are very attentive when it comes to girls. And if you've ridden the buses, whoa, you'll see there are women's seats. It's like the girls have fought for their rights. It's a very liberal state, because there are still girls' schools, women's universities, and women here really assert their rights, saying, this is our right to live. This is our right to study. This is our right 30%.
They didn't have rights?
That's why, girls were killed. What else? See, they need a dowry.
Plastic covers on taxi seats are a great idea because there's a lot of dirt outside and there's always a championship going on for transporting goods. Here's the winner among the carts. And this Ant-Man is carrying a load 20 times heavier than himself. Here, they've put up scaffolding made of bamboo. Both the scaffolding and the building itself are crooked. This is what a building with hotels and guest houses looks like. You need to be more careful when renting accommodation online. And against this backdrop, the governor's residence is the most beautiful and cleanest. There are so many people in India that, for example, it's hard to control them during elections. And everyone who votes is marked with special ink.
This is done so that you don't go to another polling station or use someone else's fake documents. So literally, there are huge sheets. Photography was not allowed, some fenced off areas, and people go in there with their passports, with their documents. Naturally, they were assigned to a specific polling station, but still, they get this mark like, I voted.
What's that?
Those are libraries. They're very much merchant houses that have now been converted into something else. Libraries, universities.
You prefer libraries, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a philology major after all, so there's no other way.
Do you feel like going up and putting things in order?
Yes, everywhere. I want to clean everything, like disinfect everything, and turn on the ventilation. Preferably I'd go in with a vacuum cleaner.
Not eating with hands?
I'm used to eating pilaf, this rice, with a spoon and fork, and you won't break me of that. I mean, my hand just won't do it. I don't know. It's just somehow completely different.
Yeah, they already have some special hand shape for it. So what do you actually do here in your free time?
The first few times, I walked around, around the block near my hotel with a camera too, with a monopod. I was thinking, damn, I hope I don't get killed. I'll film everything just so there's some kind of proof of where I am. At the same time, I send it all to my mom.
Did you ever wander somewhere with rats, dumpsters, and all that stuff?
Oh, the rats just run around. I mean, you don't even need to wander anywhere special. You just stand by a dumpster for about 10 minutes and one will run by. There are also bats squeaking here. And there are a lot of crows too.
You want to take a shower when you come from outside in India?
During the first days when I arrived, I would wash all the exposed parts of my body in the sink first. I would wash my nose, and only then would I go take a shower and wash everything off. That's how bad everything was. And I was also very afraid of catching some kind of infection here because it's so warm and infections develop where it's warm. I thought, I'll probably catch something else. That's it, I'm going to die. I brought so many pills with me. I don't need them all. I can share a lot.
Come on, I'm panicking.
I've got antibiotics, something for allergies, some kind of antiviral drops, 4 packs.
So have you calmed down a bit?
Yes, right now, yes.
Alexander is enjoying himself in India, but he's sure that not all Indians are as nice and harmless as they seem. When you're riding a bike, do people bump into you?
Oh, they bump into you all right? Yeah, they definitely do. They just love squeezing in where there's absolutely no space at all. They step on your heels and knock your elbows with their mirrors. Even cars, when you're riding somewhere, they drive so close to you.
They squeeze you in, right?
Yeah, they're always in a hurry to get somewhere. So basically, you really need a sense of an intuition for driving here. Everyone here drives pretty much by instinct. No matter what the rules are, everyone breaks them. If someone needs to, they'll just make a U-turn right there and cut across. Yeah, because that's how everyone drives here. Some bike cut me off and I swerved a little. And behind me, there was just this much space between me and the car. Some girl tried to squeeze through and she swerved too, basically. Ditched her bike and started yelling at me. And then a bunch of Indians immediately gathered around just to watch. Well, sometimes someone wants to get involved. They started grabbing me by the arms. Of course, I shook off their hand. The police came over. In the end, after half an hour, nothing really happened.
Aditya is a smart guy and he has a lot of friends in different countries. I haven't left India yet, but I would really like to visit 3 countries that I know about from movies, books, and friends. The first would be Japan. Japan has accomplished something amazing. It has managed to combine its ancient traditions, culture, and history with the modern trends followed by Western countries. The second country would be Germany, because my brother went there to study and he showed me a lot of videos and told me about his experiences. That's one of the reasons why I want to visit this country. And the last one would be a Middle Eastern country, the Emirates. I have a friend in the UAE. He says that even though the country is not very far from us, it is still completely different. We have nothing in common, but she's really cool.
Here, take the stick.
Let's do it. The sacred one is allowed. Let me remind you that Alex will soon turn 70. Tell us more about your secrets. You look amazing for your age.
Movement is life. Move more and don't let any bad thoughts into your head and you'll be happy.
Short and cool. If you're feeling sad and it seems like your life is meaningless, go to India. Here, it'll be more fun.
Yeah, but happiness isn't somewhere out there in India or Russia. Happiness is inside, right here in your head. That's all.
No doubt India isn't the cleanest place in the world if you look at Mumbai. But if you look inside people's minds, it's a whole different story. And then this country starts to look like something kind and free. Fill your mind with happiness and subscribe to Vovakarmanov's channel Wanzandi if you enjoyed this episode. There will be plenty more like this. As for me, I'm leaving in completely dirty clothes, but with a clear mind and the thought that I'll be back. See you!